Cosplay.
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 Cosplay. What comes to your mind when you think of the word cosplay? Most people will think it's just a weird and cringy hobby for weird and cringy people, but to some it's so much more than that. It's an outlet for creativity, an escape from reality, or even just for fun and as a hobby. The first ever recorded cosplay was in 1939 at the World Science Fiction Convention, and although we can only date back to the first cosplay at this time, cosplay has most likely been around for decades or even centuries, with things like theatre being very similar to the more modern hobby. Though cosplay has definitely been around for much longer than we know, it wasn't necessarily a thing until the term was coined in Japan in the 1980s by Nobuyuki Takahashi. This became more popular in Eastern countries, especially Japan, which is why it is highly associated with anime and manga rather than science fiction and heroes like in the US. My personal story with cosplay began in 2019 on August 19th when I received my first ever cosplay. This was of the character Himiko Toga from My Hero Academia. At the time I felt a really deep connection with the character and I wanted to demonstrate my love for her through the videos and dances that I'd create. The day of filming this marks the 6th anniversary of my cosplay journey, and I'm so happy to be able to create a documentary as a way to inform more people of the ins and outs of cosplay. I began cosplay as a way to show appreciation for characters and medias I enjoyed. This included animes and even series and games. I continue to do cosplay to this day as I like to show my makeup skills and the love for makeup, and also to develop my skills in acting as it's something that aligns with my future career, which is being an actress. Something else I've also got from cosplay is I've got so many friends that mean so much to me, and I've met them through cosplay and all these performances that I've done, and I'm so appreciative of the community and the hobby to be able to meet all these people. But instead of just hearing my story, why don't we go and talk to more people about what cosplay means to them?
How or why did you get into cosplay? I got into cosplay because I adored Halloween and I always felt like it wasn't enough. So I found out a really awesome community that does Comic Cons, and that's how I got into cosplay.
I mainly got into cosplay due to a friend of mine. They let me borrow their cosplay, and after that I just got into it like heavily. Another reason is because I really like just being the character. It's just so fun.
For me, I got into cosplay in 2020, I want to say, because I was just bored. It was popular on Musical.ly, TikTok now. I just wanted to do it because the first time like I actually did something like that was in like Halloween 2017 maybe, I want to say. I had created like my own character and I wanted to cosplay it. Well, I didn't know it was called cosplay at the time. I just dressed up as the character. And yeah, it was like this like demon character, and I'd made like tinfoil horns, and like I was really obsessed with like making things. So yeah.
And why do you enjoy it so much? I enjoy it because I meet nerds just like me, and I love feeling like I belong somewhere. It gives me a sense of belonging.
It is the fact that I get to meet so many cool people. I also enjoy just making props for cosplays or like adding things to them. Yeah.
For me, I really enjoy doing makeup. That's what keeps me continuing to do cosplay, because it's like always like really fun. Everyone does their own like thing, and it's really nice to see like what other people do with their makeup. And for example, with Arcane, the TV series, a lot of people have taken it like as like a thing to like recreate the art style, which is really cool. I've tried it myself. I also really like the performances and photo shoots because it helps gain confidence, especially for me because I'm like really awkward like outside of cosplay. In cosplay I'm awkward as well, but you know, it's nice to look back at the photos and be like, oh, that's me. And performances as well, especially when you're doing like working in a group, it's always really nice. It makes for like fun memories as well, because I've done a couple with my bestie. It's just fun. It's just fun to watch. One thing though that kind of like discourages me sometimes from cosplay is constant like wanting to look good all the time, because there's like a lot of people who like criticize cosplayers for not looking the best all the time, and there's also like compilation videos like did this cosplay better than them. Like, it's just like putting people down really, and that's like in a lot of communities like in especially like fashion based communities, like that happens. But it's just kind of like upsetting seeing it happen in a cosplay community where like everybody's supposed to like be encouraging of each other and like helping each other out, really. But I feel like that's because it's becoming more of a mainstream thing. There's going to be like more people coming in, more people like not really knowing the proper like etiquette towards other people. So, another part that like discourages me sometimes, and a lot of people, is like con creeps and weirdos. There's people who can get like really comfortable like no matter how old you are, and you know. So my advice would probably be to like just be careful of who you are like hanging around with, and like always like stick up for yourself if people are like being weird. However, don't let me discourage you from like getting into cosplay spaces, because obviously it is really positive. Not everything is bad. Loads of people are like really supportive and really nice. It's just sometimes you can get weirdos, mean people, and just drama queens. But yeah, overall it's really nice and it's really fun. You meet a lot of like amazing people and long-term friends, I'd say.
Cosplay isn't just something that you can see or do online, it's also something that you can take to a whole new level through Comic Cons. These are events organised by a plethora of companies, with the more popular ones in the UK like Megacon and MCM being the more larger ones you can attend to throughout the year. These events are for nerds and geeks alike, with attendees ranging from avid comic or novel enjoyers to movie fanatics to cosplayers and fairies. It's a place where all fans can connect with each other and can all bond over something that they all have in common: a comfort in weirdness. Since many won't be able to attend a Comic Con, I thought I'd take you all along
to York Comic Con
so that you can experience a Comic Con for yourself. It's Comic Con day. I'm going to be Vi from Arcane, so I'll update when we're on the way to York for the Comic Con. They're having a battle. They're having a battle. Oh my god! Hi, so this is me after Comic Con. I had so much fun. There was stalls like everywhere. There was like 3 floors, an outside bit. There was like trucks, cars, and there was people cosplaying from like everything. I got so many photos with people, and a lot of people asked me for photos, and I also did a photo shoot with our photographer. I honestly wish I could have bought like everything there. The stalls had such amazing artists, so I will show a clip of like some of the art that I found super good. There was prop makers, some clothing. There was stickers, key rings, prints, everything you could name. Like, it was amazing. I'd absolutely recommend you go to one if you are a bit of a nerd, especially if you want to meet people dressed as your favourite characters, and they were all so sweet. I can't say anything more. Comic Cons are also created with other hobbies in mind, such as artists and photographers. Often, shoots will be done during your time at a Comic Con. However, many cosplayers will book shoots in studios or specific locations according to the character with a photographer. Fortunately, I was able to interview a photographer that I have worked with many times before, and was able to ask a few questions during our shoot, so why don't we go listen to their responses. Would you say that photography is more of a job or hobby to you?
To me, photography is definitely a hobby. It's hobby passion. I have earned money from it in the past, and I found that doing that rapidly removed pleasure from it, because you had the stresses of how many shoots do I need to do to get in a certain amount of money, and also people's expectations when they pay you just become completely bonkers. So for me now, it is purely a hobby and just for trying to create some beautiful fun images. And the cons didn't exist when I was young, So although I loved the sci-fi fantasy genres, by the time they actually came to the UK, I felt I was too old to really break into the cosplaying, and so it's nice to sort of still come along and see the amazing outfits that people have.
How did you get into photography as a job at fairs?
So just how I got into photography, initially got my first SLR when I was about 7, and I was only interested in taking plants up until I got my first girlfriend, and then she wondered why I had this good camera and never ever took a photo of her and was only interested in taking photos of plants. And so it was like, wow, you can take photos of people as well. And then I just sort of, my people photography would just be sort of friends and family. And then there was one point where I remember one of the in-laws saying, it's really interesting because we don't know whether Marcus actually takes good photos or whether it's only because we know the people in the photos that we like them. So I started doing some photography with models, and I did time for print, and then I found that I was getting a lot of inquiries, and so I was having to be quite selective about who I did photos with. And then I just remember turning someone down and then saying, well, I'll pay you for it. And it was, all right, okay, so not just doing it for free, but I get paid, fair enough. You then start taking on more and more, and then at that point you do the calculation of, if I wanted to give up my day job, how many shoots would I need to do? But also, is the stress level worth it? And I just found that after a couple of years of doing that, it was just not worth the money because I was no longer enjoying the photography. And it felt as if you were sort of devaluing the art, as it were, that you'd sold out. And then I just gradually moved towards deciding to pay models for photography time, because that way then there's no pressure on how fast you deliver things, whereas if you do it on a time for photos, then there is that expectation. So that's how I started, how I earned money from it, how I decided that actually spending money on it was better.
Would you recommend the job or hobby to anyone else?
I would absolutely recommend the hobby. I think it is a very, very rewarding hobby. There's so many styles you can do. It can be fun to experiment. There can be a point where you've finished experimenting and you think, right, I now know what I like and I'm just going to stick to what I like. But you can do it with any equipment at all, and you don't need a fancy camera. A good photographer can take good photos with a reasonably mediocre camera. So it is highly rewarding. I think from the job point of view, it's like a lot of things. There are a number of things that can be a passion, but if you do try to turn them into a money maker, you need a different mindset. But I also think that embarking on it now as a hobby is absolutely great. But I think with the advent of the AI models that we've got now, very, very soon, I think being a professional photographer is going to be incredibly tough. But like a lot of other things that are being replaced by AI generated content, the hobby side is still just as valid as ever.
I've worked with this photographer many times before, and the experience is always one of my favourite parts of a Comic-Con day. I loved being able to also hear about his experience and perspective as a cosplay photographer rather than the cosplayer themselves. Photography is something everyone can involve themselves in, even if you just have your phone. So if you're not interested in being in front of the camera or in a costume, then this could be your way of showing what you enjoy. Although cosplay is mostly done as a hobby or casually, some will turn their interest into a career. This involves jobs like content creation, professional competing or judging, and commission work. Though we have already discussed many of Comic-Con's ranges of activities, there is one that I wasn't able to show, which is masquerades or competing. Competing can be done on many levels, with it going from novice to journeyman to masters. I have taken part in 2 competitions before as a novice, in 2023 and 2024 at MegaCon Manchester, and it was a really fun experience. If you have another skill you'd like to present, you can perform with things like singing, acting or dancing, like what me and my friend did. This type of competing is more common and casual, but many will progress further and present their craftsmanship skills with handmade costumes, wigs, props and armours. These events are larger in scale and therefore come with bigger prizes, which can include money, trophies, specialised awards for craftsmanship or performance, or even opportunities to advance to larger international competitions like the World Cosplay Summit. Cosplayers like Sarah Spaceman on YouTube are known for their participation in events like these, or even for judging them when their skills are of a professional. Even with these more serious roles in creating, crafting can be done with little and casual skill. Many will learn through experimenting with techniques and types of products. I myself have learnt basic sewing by making a belt with scrap fabric, painting and gluing skills from a cardboard guitar, and even how to create a plaster mould of my head for a mask. Cosplayers take this and progress to bigger creations like full outfits and armours. Crafting cosplays doesn't always have to be competitive to be a job. A lot of cosplayers dedicate time to creating custom outfits for a commissioner. These products can be wigs, costumes, or even props based on a specific character. These commissioned workers will often advertise their work on things like social media, with many becoming more popular and therefore more commissioned. Social media is also used for content creation. Content creation with cosplay usually consists of large-scale photo shoots or even cinematic pieces, with many creating recreations of media that they are cosplaying from or inspired work. Most of the products will be posted on things like TikTok, Instagram or YouTube, reaching fans across the world, sharing their artistic take on a character. This content will get interactions from thousands or even millions, which ends up earning some money for the cosplayer involved. Content creation also comes in a different way, with many basing videos or posts on collaborations with companies. The most seen type of collaboration a cosplayer will do is with costume, wig or contact companies. But many will have the opportunity to join a game maker or media creator, creating even larger opportunities for them. A cosplayer called Spill the Tea collaborated with Zenless Zone Zero and Metal Gear Solid and was invited by Paramount to see a special screening of Smile 2, and I was interested in her story and how she got to where she is now. So I took the chance to interview her about it, and this is how she responded.
I'm T-Pen, though most people online know me as Spill the Tea or simply T. I'm a 19-year-old cosplayer, makeup artist, performer and singer with a passion for creativity and self-expression. Over the last 4 years, I've built a community of more than 2 million followers across different social platforms, and through cosplay, fashion, acting and music, I aim to inspire others to embrace confidence, creativity and the freedom to express themselves. During the start of 2021, whilst in lockdown, I was infatuated with makeup, performance, anime and gaming, and one day I was scrolling on TikTok and came across a cosplayer. I discovered that cosplay was a way that I could combine all my passions into one, so of course I had to explore it myself. I bought a £3 shiny pink wig on eBay and decided to cosplay Sakike from The Disastrous Life of Sakike. After stealing my dad's jumper and drawing on some wonky pink eyebrows, I became Sakike. When I started cosplay, I didn't think I could turn it into a job. However, in December of 2021, I got my first collaboration with miHoYo from Genshin Impact. I've been fortunate enough to work with top leading brands such as Sega, Nintendo, Disney, miHoYo, Moose Toys, Bandai, etc. Because of these collaborations, I've been able to use them to fund cosplay itself, and unfortunately the nature of cosplay is expensive. Although I find it hard to admit, I would say that for now cosplaying is a job. For me, cosplay has never been about making money, it's always been about inspiring others to express themselves in whatever way they feel true to them. I desire for people to feel free to be creative, confident and unapologetically themselves. I'm very grateful that I've been able to turn something that I love into something that supports me financially, and I make sure to use what I earn to fund my cosplay, music and creative projects so that I can keep sharing and growing with my community. I strive to uplift, inspire and amuse others, offering them a distraction from their everyday lives. Empowering myself and empowering others is so crucial in 2025. The industry demands for innovation, artistry and originality. I wish for people to have a safe place where they can embrace their personalities. The magic in the transformation from a character and being able to channel my creativity into that always keeps me driven. The cosplay pushes me, evolving my abilities and letting me try things I never thought I would have. Cosplay ignites a fire in me that I really hope never goes out. On the other hand, I would say that the major downside is social media affecting my mental health and therefore stunting my creativity. A lot of the times I can find myself to be a workaholic, so I tend to become burnt out very easily. I struggle with consistency and having to manage and balance everything by myself. Cosplay has so much to it: makeup, making the costumes, styling the wings, sourcing the materials, coming up with innovative ideas, filming, lighting, editing, posting, responding to the messages and emails, etc. Sometimes managing things can become a bit too overwhelming. I believe that you should explore it as a hobby first. The main advice that I can give is to cosplay for yourself and not turn it into a chore or a job. Cosplay is a chance for you to escape into creativity, and you don't want it to be tarnished by it becoming a chore. I believe you should cosplay characters that you hold, love, and hold a great significance for. It helps you stay driven.
Cosplay has brought so much light into so many people's lives, including mine, and we all want to share such an amazing hobby like that with everyone. Whether you want to do it in your bedroom, on stage, or in a studio space, the cosplay community has so much to offer. Kindness, connections, support, entertainment, skills, and even work. Anyone can take part no matter your race, gender, sexuality or style. Cosplay is for you, so don't be afraid to be you. Have comfort in your weirdness.
자꾸 마주치는 네 시선